All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, party people? Welcome to the Jam Space Podcast. This is Zach Cry, and before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you guys about my new track that's streaming on all platforms. It's called Look Out Above, and I like it. It's pretty cool. It's got like an old sort of post-grunge desert vibe to it. If you like Ty Segall or Brant Bjork or even like Nirvana and shit, man, you'll dig this one. So check that out wherever you listen to music, or go to zachcry.bandcamp.com. I got a cool lyric video coming out for it later on this week. But if you follow me on Bandcamp, you're gonna see that before anybody else, because that's where I put all my exclusive stuff. Let's go to zachcry.bandcamp.com and hit that follow button, and you'll have access to all that before all the other socials. Today's guest is John Gist out of Las Vegas. He runs Vegas Rock Revolution. He is a part of the Doomed and Stoned show, which is a killer podcast / radio show. It's always upwards of 2.5 hours where they're bringing you all the new music in the Dooner and Stone. Did I say Dooner and Stone? Fuck. What the fuck is wrong with me? In the stoner and doom genres. So you can get that on Spotify, SoundCloud, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts now. I think they are distributed. So that's stoner and doom, not dooner and stone, which I'm surprised there's not a band called that right now. He also was doing Planet Desert Rock Weekend, which was a cool kind of desert rock sort of festival. They had John Garcia from Caius there with his band, and I think he booked all of the bands of different members of like Unita and Hermano and stuff, and then they all came out there and played together. I think Nick Oliveri did his Death acoustic shit there. Just a really cool experience, man. And I'll let John tell you more about it. Let's go ahead and get into the episode. This is John Gist from Vegas Rock Revolution. Jam Space Podcast.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you, John?
I'm doing.
Sweet, man.
Had a long night last night of rock and roll debauchery, so been recovering all day.
That's great, man. So it looks like things are on the up and up back over there in Vegas, huh?
It seems to be progressing that way, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Numbers are down substantially. Just in February, it's dropped, substantially. We had a brutal November, December, January, so.
That's great, man. That's great to hear. Were you at a show last night?
What's that?
Did you go to a show last night?
Yeah, the last 3 weeks, Counts Vamped has had acoustic shows.
Sweet.
Yeah. So it's a start, she's the owner's really taking her time, along the way. March 15th, they increase it to 50% here in Vegas, 50% capacity.
Okay.
So that will move things along. We're at 35% right now.
That'll basically be a full year, huh? Since they shut everything down.
Yeah, I had one of the last public rock shows in town. Yeah, was like March 14th or 15th, something like that.
What show was that?
It was Void Vader, Dirty Streets, and then a local musician that's killer named Jason Walker.
Killer, man.
Yeah, I was down at the Bunkhouse. It was really a good show.
All those are great acts. Yeah, you know what? The very last show that I went to, that must have been the same tour that Dirty Streets was on, because they were going to be playing with Patrick Sweeney. Yeah, and they ended up they bailed out, man, because of the way things were going.
Yeah, it sucks. yeah. Void Vader continued. They kind of did their own little tour. I kind of intersected the two of them at the same time for a show. Void Vader ended up, I think, doing a few shows after that. I think they played somewhere in Arizona and somewhere else after that, and got over to Texas, and then just things fell apart by the time they got to Texas.
Yeah, wild stuff, man. So, how have you been, though?
Good. Yeah, doing good. Been recovering as far as I can tell. It's been pretty smooth sailing overall this year, and I'm a little bit of a long hauler, as they call it. So,
Yeah, man. I'm so glad that you pulled through, man, and fucking, because you caught COVID early on, I think, when it first
pretty early. Hit. Yeah, pretty early. I got in June, so a lot of people certainly didn't even know anyone who actually had it yet. So I was kind of early to the ball game when it came to that.
And you are one of the people out of everybody that I know that has dealt with this. You had one of the more serious cases, for sure.
Huh. Yeah, well, guess that's what happens when you get a little older. But I'm lucky. I didn't have to go to the hospital. I did everything I could to fight that, and I didn't have breathing problems and such as that. And that was the thing that, that's kind of the death blow, man. When it gets into your lungs and all that other shit, that's when things go downhill quick, from what I'm gathering. And yeah, we've lost a few people, that's for sure.
Craziness, man.
What about your area?
Things are looking up over here. I know Arizona was a hot spot for sure. I've been working all through the whole pandemic and stuff, but I've stayed masked up, when I need to. Mm-hmm. And I work outside, so I'm not in close quarters with anybody, but my lifestyle hasn't necessarily changed too much. And I haven't come in contact with it or anybody close to me, so.
Nice. Yeah. Have you even had a cold or anything throughout this whole time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had a cold. I've had a scare for sure, but
you might be so young, it might have just bounced right off you. I mean, that's kind of what the theory is in many circles now, as science kind of evolves the idea of herd immunity. Is there's so many people that probably already had it in some small semblance that the numbers are starting to go down because of that. Everyone's had it, and then you got the vaccines, and you got these other things, and it's not shifting around as easy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But who knows? I'm not a fucking scientist.
My wife swears that she had it back in like November or December, man, before it was really a huge deal. She got really sick. And she swears up and down, that's that shit that I had. But, we're not doctors, so.
Yep. I kind of felt like I had it in very early February.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally remember the day. Like, I was just sitting there, and then all at once felt like a heat wave go over me. I was like, oh, God, I'm not feeling so good. It was literally just like that. I had to leave. I was supposed to have a few drinks after dinner with this band, and I was like, I got to go home. I feel horrible.
Wow, man.
Yeah, and I went home and I had like 101.6 degree temperature, which for me is high. And, I drank some water and took some Tylenol or something and laid down and fell asleep for like 2 hours. It was crazy. and then had like crazy ass night sweats. But the next day, after I went and got my Starbucks and a few things like that, I just went about my business and pretended like it never happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of weird.
So now that we're pushing on a year and they're going to open up back to 50%, what do you see in the near future for your whole Vegas revolution thing, your Vegas rock revolution?
I don't know. I'll tell you that the town, listen, the history with me in Las Vegas is this. I've been here for almost 11 years now. And when I started really going out to shows very consistently, once, twice a week minimum, I was newly divorced. I wanted something to kind of jump back into and do. And, I was going to the great stoner rock show bands and Doom and all that. And there was literally many shows, 12, 15 people there at the most, because these venues weren't doing anything. The venues were doing nothing. Bands don't know how to do anything, the whole kit and caboodle. And I was like, man, I think I could do just as good. I've never even done this before. And so that's when I challenged myself. It was like, I think August of that year, 2016. And I just started doing the shows and, inched the way back into things. So at least it was a decent scene, but, for bands to come in and do shit. But problem is Vegas in its former ways before COVID had so much free stuff for locals and so many big name shows along with residencies and things like that. It became a very difficult market just to get, people to come to the smaller shows many times. So it wasn't a great market in many ways at times, but we at least made it a staple of people going on tour, we would hope, for many. But now we're down more venues. So we literally only have a few venues that even book rock acts.
Right, yeah. How does that affect the local scene there so like you're talking about touring acts, but I'm sure there's a local scene there, and then now they're competing with like Bret Michaels who's holding the fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or some shit like that. Yeah.
Scorpions.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Yeah. So the local scene from a music standpoint, if I'm to think about the heavy underground a little bit, there's virtually nothing. Like literally, it's bare minimum. There's a band called Sonolith, and they're an instrumental band that kind of fits in the mold. And other than that, there's honestly, I had a hard time finding bands that really were decent fits or to match up with stoner rock, heavy rock, psych, and all that. There's very few of that. The culture here is way more on the screaming metal side and way more influenced by nu metal rather than the blues based rock and metal.
Sort of the mainstream metal sound. Lamb of God,
Octane Radio kind of thing. Mainstream, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Octane Radio and Sirius XM have kind of their own branding at this point in time. So it's and this city's been a punk city forever, and
So what was
my
it?
thing, personally.
What made you decide to bring in the stoner rock? Did you just really dig the genre, or because cool, man.
Yeah, I think that there was there were a lot of people that didn't even know that these shows were here because no one was doing anything about it. Do you know what I mean, Zach?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So how would you know about a show? Some of these venues, they think that they can put it on their website and they can put it on their Facebook and have the event and everything should just fall in place. I mean, it's an amazingly, short-sighted way of doing things. And so, and I'm seeing bands. I saw Spirit Caravan, Most Generator, and Elder together on one show.
Wow.
And there was maybe 15 people there, 20 at the most.
On a stacked lineup.
You know what I mean? But no one knew about it because that venue did nothing to promote it at all. So, I felt like, man, this is a bummer from not only being a fan, because there's hardly anyone there. It's a bummer because these musicians deserve better than this. They deserve to have better fans, more fans there.
What year was that? What year was that show?
That was probably 2016, probably, if not, it was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking
I saw Freedom Hawk midweek also, and that was probably like 20 people at the most. And, shows like that. And Gabble to Pay probably played in front of 20 people or something. I mean, it was ugly, So my first show I ever did, we had at least 40-something people there. It was a midweek show, but at least we had that many.
No, and I've seen you have some pretty big bands, man. What are some of your proudest moments, like as far as some of the acts that you've booked?
I'd say that the proudest would be the first Planet Desert Rock weekend, the first night. It was a night with John Garcia,
Yeah,
the lead singer from Caius,
right.
and me and him got together and came up with a really cool kind of idea, and so we brought in all of his guitarists from over the years, except for Josh, of course. And so Arthur C came in, and he had his band, one of his bands, Death and Pretty Rapping. They actually started the show. We had Luna Soul, which features Dave Angstrom of Hermano.
Wow.
So they actually opened directly for John. And so there was Angstrom. And then we had Chris Hale from the band Slow Burn, which, a one album masterpiece that John did.
Amusingly
and Chris Hale,
amazing.
the guitarist, lived in town. So he came over and they all played an individual song with John on stage from those bands.
Man, how amazing was that? Because I don't even think John Garcia even really plays in the States much,
No, he doesn't. He's played, I won't say exclusively for me this last 3 to 4 years, but he's played for me 3 different times.
Yeah,
and he's probably played the rest of the states combined probably 5. So we found a good little niche because we're just a quick day drive away. He likes playing live music, some for sure, and it just made sense. We made the numbers work. That's a big part to some of these musicians as well. And before I forget, Nick Oliveri also played that night.
Absolutely,
he got on stage and played a number of Kaya songs with him.
I wanted to make it to that show so bad. I just could not.
It's a once in a lifetime thing, man.
Yeah, and
I should have videoed it. That's the bottom line. It would be I would not be stressed out as much about money if I had just videoed that whole thing. It was just an amazing event. The energy was so special. It was a good way to start off Planet Desert Rock. We had people from all over the country, even some folks from around the world that were in town for that. And, we kicked off the next night with headlining WoFat, but also Sasquatch.
Sasquatch was there.
You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
Red Desert was on there and Black Wolf. And it was just, insane. And then the final night at Wino.
And that was at the Joint, correct?
No.
No?
No, shit, no. Joint's too big, man. I was at the we were at the smaller venue in Hard Rock, but it's still like a 600 something capped room.
Right, yeah.
So
my fault. I had it mistaken. But that's killer, dude. So what's now the Hard Rock, that guy from Virgin Airlines bought it, huh?
Yeah. So the small venue is pretty much done. I just read a little write-up about it earlier this weekend. And they basically said, well, it's kind of going to be a multi-room thing. It's going to come multi-themed thing going on in the room. One night it could be a comedian. Next night it could be a folk singer. And I'm like, oh God,
Yeah.
So they're gonna really, probably go in more of a hipster direction versus the harder direction is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Joint is it's been renamed already, some stupid name like the Theater at Virgin or something like that, Virgin Theater. But and so we'll see how it looks inside and what they've done with that. So that'll be interesting.
That's funny. That's the last thing that dude has around him is some virgins.
Yeah, that's for sure. Not for long, right? So I mean, that place has been closed, for a year now, and they were at one time had a tentative date to be open in January, and then just our numbers just were so bonkers, at the end of last year, early this year, that they pushed it off. So we'll see what happens. But literally, Bunkhouse, one of our best venues, it's closed now. So we're down to Dive Bar, which definitely isn't my cup of tea, and it's way more for the super heavy, trashy stuff more.
Yeah, I've played there.
You played a show with me, for me over at Hoodoo Kill played one.
Yeah.
That I put together at Dive Bar. Who was on that bill that day?
The girl that works there, she did the podcast with them and stuff. I can't think of her name now. She played in like a surf kind of band. I want to say they were like the house band, man. They had
No house band.
they had a little fucking podcast there, and then she was part of the podcast, and she was part of the band. I can't.
I'm
think
looking
of-
at my wall now because I have pictures I have posters that I did, and I put them up on this wall. So I'm trying to see if I can find it anywhere. If it was one of these posters I actually got to keep. I don't see who's up on these, darn.
You know what? Nope. I have a Vegas Rock Revolution poster, and it was a time we came up and played with King. That's the only one I have, though.
King.
Yeah, you had King, and it was us and a local Vegas band.
Oh yeah. Now I see it. Oh, Strange Mistress.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. King, yeah, you were on the King and Hazy Tones.
yeah.
show.
Oh,
That's
Hazy
badass.
Tones. That was
Yeah,
it.
from Canada.
Yeah, which is very cool because later on, we ended up playing like 3 or 4 shows in a row with Hazy Tones. I put those guys up at my
nice.
at my house, man. Yeah, so
Sweet. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Right on. And then I remember did you play also over at like Double Down, the punk place or something?
Double Down is where okay, that's what I'm talking about. The Double Down is where they have like the house band, the girl, and she's part of the podcast, and they played like the surf rock shit.
Yeah. That place prides itself on playing primarily punk, and so
Yeah.
they haven't been that great for the heavy underground as far as the stoner doom scene. It's rare they even get in there. A few bands have, you guys and Stone Deaf have played there, a few of them like that, but I've never even done a show there. I've really not even quite had the interest in it. It's because I'm just not a punk guy necessarily.
Yeah, I think
And,
you came and saw us though, man. I appreciate you coming out
there,
there. Hell
boy.
yeah,
Come on
man.
now. Got to support you a little bit.
Hell yeah.
So we had a place called Beauty Bar that closed a couple years ago. Just a ridiculous finish to that place. Counts Vamped is the #1 rock club, debatably in the West Coast as far as just pure. Everything is all rock. It's upscale, super nice, just a great place. And they're just starting out a little slow right now doing the acoustic. But there's some things brewing. So, but that literally is one of the only places. There's a brand new place called like Rockstar something or other, but it will be very, very, very diverse amounts of music. And it's connected to a driving range for golf, driving range. It's over by the Strip. But I mean, honestly, and then there's a place called Backstage Bar and Billiards, which is where I started out my show start, and they're not even open right now, and so they will open, but they were very choosy to begin with on doing shows and when and where, and and they're a little bit more on the octane metal side of things too. So, but they have some good stuff along the way. But that's it, man. I mean, literally. I may be forgetting one place, but it's not a big city when it comes to venues. Yeah.
So where's Counts Vamp located, like in relation to the Strip? Is it
10 minutes off the Strip?
Okay.
10, 15 at the most. Yeah, it's just straight down Sahara, and it's about a 300 and something cap place, high tops, premium. I mean, I'm talking premium sound, and actually has good food and shit also. Yeah, I mean, just really, really a super good place. Owned by Danny Coker from Counting Cars. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Really, really nice.
Well, I want to talk to you about so how long have you been? You said you've been in Vegas for about 11 years. So you've been promoting music since about 2015, you said, I think?
16.
16. So, okay. How did so the first Psycho Las Vegas happened in 2015, I believe, over there.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that was I was there at that one. And
hell yeah.
Until that point in time, I had just been listening to bands like Electric Wizard and Sleep and Caius, your brand name stoner bands.
Yep.
on Pandora, because
Doom.
it was all a culminative, like it all culminated at the same time. Like Pandora Radio came out, so you put in a band that you like, and then you
Right.
discover all these other bands. Okay,
Sure. Yeah,
so
I know it works.
so
Absolutely.
yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's how I figured out about. That's how I found out about a lot of these bands, but then I dove deep into those bands, right? Caius
Right.
and Stoner and Doom and stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
all these bands are like have come and gone, man. This is like a thing of the past, you know. This whole scene is, you know, just like all the good shit, it's fucking too late. I'm here too late. And then Psycho Vegas happens, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? There's no way,
Yeah.
we're gonna miss this. You know,
Yeah.
we bought the tickets. We go out there, and it's just such a blast, and the turnout is amazing. They had a
Oh yeah.
magnificent turnout. I mean, that place was
Yeah. For sure.
crawling with fucking people
From
with
all over the world.
and
Yep.
battle vest, and I know that Las Vegas felt that. So I was wondering.
Barely anyone from Las Vegas
Yeah.
went
Wow, man, that's so crazy.
because in general, and again, there's some, but I barely knew anyone besides a couple buddies I went with that were there. So I'd walk around and I didn't even recognize anyone except for people I knew through Facebook from Texas and wherever the hell else.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's that little of Doom supporters, Doom, Heavy Psych, and Stoner around here. But they did have some of the more heavier acts also, which was probably smart of them. So they kind of were able to get people in that were, sometimes into black metal or whatever.
man, I was staying. We're all sleeping in the same hotel as all these fucking huge acts, man. Bumping
Yeah,
shoulders all day and night. Like I was on the same floor as Matt Pike. Like I'm not
That's
even
funny.
bullshitting. Every time I walk out the door, I'm brushing shoulders with him. It almost got to where it was like, oh, this guy again, you know. But it's so much fun.
I love the Psycho Vegas series. I've been every one of them. I was I think, fifth or sixth person to enter Psycho Vegas the first day. I got there nice and early. I was there for the first act at the pool. Matter of fact, I was walking in basically with Jamie from Wizard.
Yeah.
Basically, and it was just such a good opening day of music. I mean, literally, you had Golden Void, Sasquatch,
Yep.
freaking Greenbeard. It just went on. and
Mothership
on.
was out there on the
Mothership.
fucking by the pool. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
I'm seeing fucking dude, and so when I seen all these people showing up, and then after that it kind of blew up, but it was like, yeah, this scene's not dead. This scene's actually really happening, man. You just gotta you just gotta look for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's exactly it. That's kind of the way. That's kind of the way it is right now, going on with the underground, the heavy underground, as far as music's concerned. Quite a few people, slowly but surely, that I would call normies. And what I mean by that is rock fans who used to like rock, but now is just so turned off by what they're given by the mainstream, by the very rich and powerful record companies, management companies, and of course, the Lotus Broadcasting and Clear Channel that dominate the FM waves and use the same regional program directors to play the same songs. And people are just disengaged from rock and roll because they think it's dead, because this shit sucks.
Oh yeah. You want to turn
kinda-
the radio on and hear Five Finger Death Punch play a fucking Eagles song, you know?
I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's the same bands doing the same things and the same labels. And, it's a simple investigation to just follow the money. And we've gone through a little bit of dare I say, a little bit of a social reengineering this last 12, 13 years, that rock and roll was made even out of Vogue. And really a lot of the youth is picked up more on the hip hop side instead, which of course is, trended with everything else. So, music and social stuff always has a bit of a partnership along the way. And so everything's been pushed in a direction that makes rock, kind of a forgotten child or an old, middle-aged white guy kind of music, when in reality, it really isn't. because you saw when you were at Psycho Vegas, it's all walks of life, man, all walks of life, and
No, I'm
it's
glad
just
that you.
we have to fight stereotyping, and that's kind of part of the problem, is people don't realize how good rock and roll is, and so that right now, but they don't hear it, and so when they finally take that chance and they break the mold of feeling that things have to be vetted or substantiated by radio play or by being in a magazine, and just understand that good music is being held down for throughout this process. And all we're doing is leaving it to the devices of very rich people to decide what the best music is for the sheep. And
Yeah.
so when people get off that and they hear these bands and they go down the rabbit hole, the rest is history. It's amazing how people get into the stoner, heavy psych, and some of the doom, and just heavy rock more and more and more. And all it takes is just hearing the right bands, the first few right bands, to get them hooked. That's
I'll
the
put it
key.
to you like this, man. I've got kids. My oldest is 12 and my son's 11, and their dad's a rocker through and through. So they've been hearing rock music their whole life.
Right.
But the way that like mainstream kind of hip hop culture is marketed at them, and
Right.
and every
Yes.
aspect of entertainment and mainstream
Yes.
media, whether it be commercials or the games they play like Fortnite, like there's songs that go with the
Yeah, man.
beats, and it's just it's insanely
Tilted.
tilted.
Yeah.
It's a skewed far
It
away
is.
from rock and roll music.
It's
and
far
my
away as possible.
and my kids
Yeah.
love rock music, dude. They can tell you.
But who they hang with,
Yeah.
and the things that those other things are going to be blanketed with this norm.
Right.
And so what's funny is going to be the day when the youth figure out that the norm is hip hop and rap and country, and you're not rebellious.
Right.
There's nothing rebellious about it. You're a clone. You're listening exactly what they're telling you to listen to.
Which is what I
versus
think
rock
is,
and roll is the rebellious thing again.
and I think it's funny that some of these rappers are mixing in like rock elements, like this whole emo rap rock thing. I don't know. I hear this
I mean,
shit. My
that's good.
kids
At least they're getting artistic and different. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, I don't have any problem with rap or hip hop. It's just I have a problem with what media and very rich people are doing with it.
Oh, for sure.
Versus the vehicle of literally snuffing out multiple styles of rock. If you think about Sirius XM radio, you familiar at all with Sirius XM?
Man,
Satellite?
I used to check it out. I used to have it like on the TV and stuff, but no, I never really dove
Okay.
deep into it.
Well, they have they have a multitude of styles and things. Okay, a multitude of things. But what they do not have a channel that plays stoner, doom, heavy psych, even power metal. I mean, I can go on Viking metal. I mean, there's like literally 6 or 7 subgenres that are big around the whole world, and they have next to zero play. They don't even really play much at all, or didn't, because I don't even have it anymore. They didn't even barely play Rival Sons, which I feel like is almost like a very close cousin of our scene, because it's blues based, good old rock and roll, that comes from the Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Jimi Hendrix family. And that was barely even getting on. But then next thing you got all these the screaming, kind of bands, and high pitched and ultra, like mega overproduced music, where they can't even duplicate it live.
Right.
And or they're not going to duplicate it live because they're going to have backing tracks and they're going to have mix in there where literally it's piping in the sound. And I mean, it's like a must for them. Versus when you think about more of the heavy underground, it's way more authentic,
Right.
In its overall presence. So it's just, technology is certainly not always a friend of rock. And of course, people are like, oh, well, rock needs to get with the times. But, as soon as you do that, it means you're getting rid of the whole idea of what the basis of influence we came from to begin with in American music, even, because blues is an American thing.
Right.
starting with our African American brothers. And so rock and roll in its purest sense of the form, there's nothing that's been more American in the world. Now, did we get some help along the way? Hell yeah. United Kingdom in the 60s, they fell in love with blues. And next thing you know, that's how we get, the Eric Claptons and Rolling Stones had a nice little blues time for a while. And then, of course, Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and The Who, all are blues based and all came from over there,
And then they ended up like starting punk rock and shit,
But punk, well, kind of. I mean, punk came a little bit from here, a little bit from there.
Yeah.
Certainly, I grew up in an area, Washington D.C. area, and D.C. was, a pretty big hub for punk. But when I was going to high school in the '80s, you either like punk or you like metal. It wasn't both very often, not at all, even back then. And metal was at its peak, and punk was just looked at as like, God, they don't even know how to sing.
Well, I was watching like a documentary about the Clash the other day because I was watching some other Adam Curtis stuff, and then it ended up going on to this documentary about the Clash, and it was like about how everything was so bland in Britain over there because there was just nothing going on. And then the Sex Pistols came out and they kind of reignited and lit up a whole generation of people. So, and then
certainly the punk scene was a big thing in England and skinheads and everything else.
But we're talking about how fucking rock music is kind of like in the shadows of mainstream culture. And it's obviously because like hip hop music and pop music in general, because of the way it's produced and because of the way it's manufactured, it can be broken down into bite-sized bits and used in advertising and looped over and stuff like that. So
and it's
that's
probably easier for record companies to work with them too.
Yeah, and I think it's probably cheaper to make. Everything's on the computer. It's all snapped to the grid on there. You're not the only real thing that you're relying on being perfect is the person like singing. Otherwise, they're all mostly digital instruments. So, right.
It's more talking real fast.
But how much has like metal elitism pushed people away from the genre? Because I know for a long time there was like this whole elite thing, dude, that really turns me off from some scenes that I've gone checked out. They're just these elitists.
What do you mean by elitist? I'm always curious. I mean, I kind of get it from what I understand, but when you say that, like, what did you see or
okay,
hear
I'll do it.
I gave you this insight into like someone acting like a metal elitist.
The prime example would be a good friend of mine that really brought me into the metal scene and stuff, and I won't say his name because nobody really knows him, but he's always been a good friend of mine. He introduced me to a lot of good metal and stuff, but then you try to show him other stuff and he's like, nah, man, that's bullshit, man. That's not cool, like the closed-mindedness are almost and they're almost like the same people that consider themselves like crowd crushers, like the people that want to fucking swing their arms around and like knock out random people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's no good.
Nah,
luckily I don't know a whole lot of those people.
Yeah, but there is heavy scenes of this. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I think that's had its own hand in pushing people away from the genre. So
well, I mean that's metal, and I think that we have to make a clear distinction between metal and rock still, as much as they are definitely cousins. Metal, and if you define metal nowadays, it's gone so far away from what it evolved from with rock that it's, quite frankly, it's the heaviest side of metal is what now metal is where it's guttural, it's screaming, it's all about the music action and the ability to just get out there and fucking, mosh and just beat the shit out of each other. I mean, dare I say metal has almost gotten, some of it's gotten too punk, quite frankly. So the pure metal, which derives from, Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and, spans like that, there's still some good stuff like that. And it doesn't, I don't mean just having to sound like it, but at least in that neighborhood out there. But the most metal you're going to hear about is the ones that do not have clean vocals whatsoever. Rock and roll is clean vocals. It's singing. It's melodies. You know what I mean?
Fucking four on the floor, sexy fucking imagery.
Little rip and groove.
Yeah.
Get you moving around a little bit. And so that's what's missing out there is the marketing of rock and roll is it's just clearly missing. We've been aborted by the biggest labels that rarely dip their toe in the water with it. Again, Atlantic Records, they signed Rival Sons, who had already had 6 or 7 albums out that were excellent. They were the hidden secret of rock and roll, and were ultra popular in Europe. And then finally, it just like clockwork. As soon as we found out that they were signed to Atlantic, that album came out and everything else, and next thing you know, they got a #1 album. And that album that went #1 is no better than the previous 2 to 3 albums. It's just now they're in the loop. And that's how filthy the music industry is. It's gone full tilt, just like media and everything else in these other directions, and just kind of leave this beautiful group of music, because rock is the one that has, it has the opportunity to cross over. Do you know what I mean? Rock can cross over into popular people that like popular music. It has an ability to do that. Metal is still going to be, metal's metal. It's always been one that's for folks that really like the aggressiveness kind of thing a little more.
So what are some of the labels that are keeping this shit alive, man?
Oh, geez. Well, clearly to me, it's 2 labels stand above everyone else, and that's Ripple Music, who have just really good taste, really strong diversity of music. They're putting out 2 albums a month, and it's from all over the world. And these guys, they're championed by bands like Woe Fat and Freedom Hawk and Mothership, kind of at the forefront, as they're big bands to start off, but you can go down as from High Priestess to all kinds of other great band. I mean, it can goes on and on. Salem's Bend and so on. It's just Void Vader's got a new album coming out on Ripple. They're making big waves. They're hustling out there. Void Vader did 2 shows over in your neck of the woods. I went to both of them.
I know, man. I was wanting to go to that shit.
So good.
I don't know how I didn't hear about this shit before you.
Well, I know the band.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, that explains it. That explains it.
Well, hell, I sent you an invite, and I probably even saw one of the ads I put together.
Yeah.
No, I didn't put together ads for them on that one, but they'll be back over there. They'll be in Phoenix again, or Tucson.
Well, see, the thing is, I live on the fucking edge of the valley out here, man. I'm almost damn near in California. No, not that far, but...
What's the name of the town?
I'm in Buckeye, man, so I'm like in the last town in the valley, dude.
Okay.
But my wife and I, we just bought a house in Glendale, so we're going to be moving out there this summer, dude.
Yeah, you'll be a lot closer.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a lot more central to Phoenix, and I'll be able to be a lot more involved in the scene and make it to a lot more shit. Yeah, so I'm so far away from shit right now where I am. It's hard to go out.
Down the boonies.
Yeah, and then make that trip all the way back home after a long show.
Oh no, you can't. That's just brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phoenix. It's been impressive to see them doing shows. I mean, they've been active since the beginning of the year, since they passed, or made the flip. They got a lot of venues doing a lot of stuff now. They're small venues, and but they still can fit 150, 200 people kind of places. So, Void Vader ripped it up, man. They ripped it up. It's so good, so good. And they got a new album coming out in April, and I've gotten a little glimpse of it, and that's a band that melds metal and rock together. Matter of fact, that's one of those bands that kind of hybrids the two together.
Yeah,
2 Guitar Attack. Eric Kluber or Kleiber. I always forget his. I love Eric, and I always forget how to pronounce his name. He used to be a guitarist for White Wizard. which is, massive, like retro metal kind of style band. And he was also in a band called Gypsy Hawk. A lot of people some people can remember like
I know
almost like
Gypsy
a stoner
Hawk
rock, heavier version of Thin Lizzy kind of feel to
for
it.
sure. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. And Lucas Canopa, the front man, is just a madman. I mean, he's just really a good one. And the girls seem to like that band too, which is important.
So what are you? So they're saying that Vegas is going to be opened up 50%. Is Psycho a go?
As far as I've seen, Psycho continues to drive things forward. Everything I'm seeing on Facebook, they continue to assume it's happening. With the numbers being as low as it is right now, we're down to like 300-400 a day versus we were thousands a day,
right.
Most of the time in November, December, January. So numbers have dropped substantially here. Now, I don't know if Psycho is going to make sense for some of the European bands. I think that's going to be something because, getting in and out of their country could be a little bit of a mess. They also usually, the European bands, when they come over here, they do a tour of some states out, a little bit further away from Las Vegas. And so the value proposition for those bands coming in isn't as solid anymore. So it'll be interesting if they do have to make some changes, which I believe they probably already are, where it will be a little bit more American music centric, which we're a country of 335 million people. So we got enough bands to take care of for a year, I'm sure.
Right. For sure.
But I looked at Psycho's lineup this year, and I'm not a big fan, honestly.
It's a lot more death metal and shit, It's
very
not
heavy.
Yeah, not very much stoner. I bought tickets last year before the whole pandemic. I bought tickets mainly because they got a whole handful of my favorite bands out of NOLA playing. The whole NOLA scene, Exhorder being one of them. I'd love to see Exhorder live, which isn't really a stoner band. They're a thrash groove band. One of the main pioneers of the groove sort of scene. But and then Down, I Hate God, Crowbar, and fucking so that handful of bands right there was enough for me and my wife to go enjoy a nice vacay over there. When we went at the Hard Rock Hotel, it was so nice, dude. Just being able to chill in the pool and fucking watch the bands, and then get up before the fucking show starts off and do what you got to do that morning. Go chill in the pool for a little bit, and then get ready and go watch the show. I mean, it's a nice time. So
it so is. It so is. I'm a big fan of the whole thing. I've been a supporter through it all, and
I'm right there with you. I'm not a huge fan of the death metal direction that they're taking, but I'm there to support.
Yeah, it's a good time regardless. You see a lot of people each year that but I think that we're in a tricky situation how it's going to turn out this year. I'm part of a group on Facebook that is all about Psycho, and there's a lot of people they're gonna wait this one out. They're not gonna participate in this one. They're gonna, this. Unfortunately, I think the pandemic is really giving some folks that are kind of the excuse makers. People we used to have to beg to come to concerts and all that, but they never could find the time or they forgot and all this other garbage. It's this final excuse for them to say, "Listen, I'm not going to any more shows." And there's people saying that, like, I'm not going to shows probably ever again. And so that's something to be rectified, something to be taken in account as things move forward. And certainly the live streaming thing, even though it's certainly not a direct substitute at all, we do have to deal with the fact that for the next year or two, if not forever, there's some people that just aren't going to support live music much anymore because we're running scared at this point in time.
That's a bummer, dude. That's
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
that
there are
bums
people
me
that
out.
literally. I was on a thread once, and I saw that, and I saw people going, "Yep, me too. I don't need to be around all those people. I don't even like people to give it." I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
God.
But people. There are people with a default pattern of negativity,
Yeah.
and so that's a big issue, for some, and they don't realize that. They just think the world sucks, and they're a victim of everything, kind of stuff. So, or they're running scared, and so there's people that are supporting a little bit more now as the live stream thing. If you look at what Stoned and Dusted is doing with the Live of the Mojave Desert series.
Oh yeah,
Have you seen
absolutely.
any of those
Yeah,
yet?
I have the
Well,
season
you haven't actually
pass. I've
seen it.
I've been
So you
watching
hadn't
all of them.
supported it, but you heard about it.
I've been watching all of them, brother.
Oh, you did? You
Yeah,
bought
yeah,
the series pass? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
hell yeah.
What an amazing production. I mean, cinematography,
Yeah.
multi-camera, fucking drones, camera,
Dude,
interviews.
they look so
know,
fucking good, man.
Yeah, it's inspirational
Mm-hmm.
to see something that someone from our community went so all in on presenting
Right.
our music to people and with great pride. I mean, it's Earthless and Nebula and Spirit Mother, all of them just their own special episode, their own special volume.
What's been your favorite one so far?
I mean, I liked them all so equally.
Yeah.
I think that I find curious, and because I know the band Nebula pretty well. They played Planet Desert Rock for me
right.
The second time, and they played a show for me at Vamp. So I know this boy's pretty good, and I've been around them some. And I think the randomness of Eddie,
yeah,
he starts the whole show off with a baby in his hands, and by the end, he's doing the interview with a monkey's head.
Yeah.
That kind of encapsulates, Nebula and Eddie's enigmatic figure.
I was gonna say the same thing, man. I was just telling this to Chris Beck earlier. I mean, Eddie Glass is a wild man, dude.
Yeah, he's just.
I enjoyed the shit out of Nebula's live performance. I mean, I've loved all of them equally,
yeah,
like you said. Visually, it's stunning, dude.
It is, and they've done a great job with the sound.
Mm-hmm.
They've obviously it's pre-recorded, so they can touch up and do the mix and everything else. They had everything, all the instruments mic'd up, so they're literally able to make it a studio album live kind of thing. So, which is something the big boys have been doing for years, kind of stuff. So, it's really neat. Spirit Mother, I could have sure enjoyed a couple more songs by them, and they have a smaller catalog, and I sure could enjoy seeing her playing that violin up there for a little longer. But she's a beauty first off, and the ominous eeriness kind of undertone that violin provides within all that is really, really unique.
It has a very haunting effect on the music.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Have you ever seen them live?
Believe it or not, I saw them just the year before our lockdown. So 2019, late 2019, a local promoter that sometimes would delve into stoner and heavy psych and some doom. This guy, Brian Moy, he brought him over as part of a really good show. And so, I got to see him and I was like, whoa, okay, this is cool. So I really think it's neat. I'm looking forward to my boys Mountain Tamer playing next. I mean, they've done a bunch of shows with me in the past. I've known those guys well, and they're on Heavy Psych Sounds. And you were talking earlier about labels, Ripple and Heavy Psych Sounds. Those are the two labels really leading the forefront of the heavy rock scene.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And then some of the guys like lower down on the scheme of things, Glory or Death Records, they're putting out a ton of killer shit right now.
Buddy Donner and the boys are doing a good job. Desert Records, I believe it is, over there with the gentleman from Red Mesa. They're popping off some good stuff.
Fuzzy Cracklin, I believe.
What's that?
I believe there's another one called Fuzzy Cracklins.
Fuzzy Cracklins has
Yeah,
had some good ones.
yeah,
Cursed Tongue
yeah. There you
has
go.
it had a magnificent year. They sometimes partner with Ripple on some stuff where they're doing like the international side and Ripple's doing the American side. But I think Cursed Tongue's the one that put out Bonehawk, which was easily one of my albums of the year.
Hmm.
Cosmic Artifacts is another really really super strong label. Argonauta doing good things over there in Italy.
So how about what
Um,
Blasco's doing with Ripple?
I love it. I love it. I know the guy pretty good nowadays. I've gotten to know him through this last few months. We had him on the show pretty early on, just probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago on the Doomed and Stone show.
Hmm.
And just a super cool guy that believes in this kind of music. And he really kind of has the same vision as people like me and Todd and others that feel like just got to keep pushing this music forward because there's a market for it. There's upside to all this. People just don't realize there's this many good bands. And some people on our scene, they get stuck and they just listen to the same old stuff over and over. They become addicted to Electric Wizard or something. They just
Hmm.
play it over and over. Nothing could beat this. It's like it's not about beating. It's about there's more. you
Yeah,
know.
enjoy all of
So
it.
yeah, and I know your plight. You mentioned about the metal elitist and all that. And hell, I even have to admit, I'm a picky bastard, Zach. I do not like I obviously don't like everything that's sent to me. And so when I put stuff up on my Heavy Vegas Rock Revolution Heavy and Hard page on Facebook, and my page, I look around, and it's one of the most highly engaged pages out there. But I approve every single thing that goes on that page because some people just constantly want to flood it with stuff that's just not at the level I want to curate on that page. And people try to put screamy stuff in there and punk stuff in there, and just things that just don't apply to that page. And I get this amazing feedback, Zach, every day practically, these people from my folks, within the VRR page. Just people love hearing new good shit. And so you just pop it in there, when you feel like you heard something that just sounds so good that this is something that could attract folks to like the music, like them, follow them on social medias and buy their music. That's kind of an important part here. Buy it. And then when things open up, go to the concert and support them. And the more we do that for these great bands from all around the world, the more and more it just keeps picking up. The more and more open minds get pried open along the way.
Well, I think there's certainly a difference between like elitist sort of like gatekeeping and what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing is like curating a scene.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
okay.
So
And
yeah,
I feel better now. Thanks, Zach. No,
yeah.
I'm joking. But yeah, you're right about that. And I know people that definitely they stick in their only genre only, and I mean when I say their genre, like it's literally one style, one kind of metal. I know some people. I deal with that when I do shows or did shows at Counts Vamped. It's a very traditional metal and rock venue based with probably its core foundation is 80s and 70s music.
Right.
And the crowd for much of the shows, is a 40 and older crowd. And some folks are so stuck in what they like, they shut off even the idea of new music. And they that can't compare, and they use these dismissive terms. You're like, it's not about comparing; it's about helping rock and roll live and exist and get bigger. And so musicians can actually not have to work regular jobs and be actual musicians and go on the road.
Yeah.
Make money, things that they deserve.
Like
But
they
people are
did in the
very
80s.
short-sighted. Like, I just want my Ramones, and I just want Skid Row, and I'm like, oh God, come on, man.
I'd love
you
to
know?
see a scientific study on what the deal is with that because it seems like people just stop listening to new music after a certain point in time.
Well, here's the thing. So when I pull my statistics, whether that's on shows or whether it's on my pages with engagement, my largest group population I believe, is 45 to 55 men. So there's people, my generation, Generation X, uh, it's just kind of our time, I think, to kind of step out of the out of the shadows and really help boost rock back up, because we were so lucky to be born in either the late 60s or early 70s. So for many of us, like me, I grew up in the 70s and 80s with really good rock and roll, and disco certainly had 4 year period where it was really pushed to the front. Sound familiar? But there was still rock and roll being made then. But when you come from the roots of Zeppelin and Hendrix and Sabbath and Deep Purple and Thin Lizzy, and then you move into the biggest metal era ever, which was pretty much from 83 to 87, 88, until the big corporate freaking labels all at once go all in on hair metal,
Right.
and they want to expand their audience. And you know what that means? Something against my lady friends, but they're expanding the audience to ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they made the guys prettier. They did more love songs, all that shit. For a 19, 20-year-old like me, I was like, fuck this, I'm out. I mean, I was like, literally, next thing you know, I was listening to college, REM and U2. You know what I mean?
Right, and then Nirvana comes around and wipes that shit out, and they're like back to the roots,
I went through when grunge happened. A friend of mine gave me Alice in Chains early on, and I bought Soundgarden, Louder Than Love very early, and I just latched onto those and said, man, yeah, we got good stuff. We got good heavy rock stuff. I've never heard things like this, and I just shifted out of metal. I'm still called a traitor when I tell some people my age about it.
Yeah, I agree
with metal. They're like, oh man, I'm like, dude, you like Firehouse and Poison and Trickster? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You're downing me because I like Nirvana. Give me a break.
You're jamming Warrant.
Generation X has been through all that. Where we're in our 20s. That is what helped elevate. Probably one of the biggest metal bands of all time. Obviously, Metallica and Pantera along the way, and so. The 35 to 55 demographic male, and not just white male, and I know people want to say that, but Hispanic living out west, as well as I do, our Hispanic brothers and sisters are a massive part of this scene, a massive part. And so, again, negative stereotypes that people like to launch on us along the way it's ill-fated, even people trying to do that.
Yeah.
But it's 35 to 55 age bracket, because we don't have the youth, because the youth is not even remotely fed it. And they're looking at rock as almost dad music at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because there isn't a lot of young musicians.
Or
Greta Van Fleet.
Even worse than it being dad rock, they look at rock and roll as being people like MGK. Which is where the...
What is that?
I was going to say, you probably don't even know who that is. This is fucking a rapper, dude. MGK, Machine Gun Kelly, who is now making...
Oh, okay.
And he's putting... now his music is becoming more emo, rock, rap style.
Okay.
He's incorporating guitars, which, I'm happy to hear a guitar back in mainstream music. But now the kids think that's what rock music is, which is really funny. This is a point I was trying to make earlier.
With time,
yeah.
It used to be movies and TV shows and highlights would have rock in it. It's such a higher rate. I'll tell you an interesting story. There was a commercial for Mountain Dew. Just right around when Rival Sons was signed to Atlantic, there was one with Rival Sons on it, and it was a Mountain Dew commercial with like a little NASCAR thing, and these cars were like doing jumps over other cars. It was kind of a fake, funny commercial, but it was with a Rival Sons song, and I was like, I'll be damned. That's good to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one show that I'll tell you that under the radar for many people that didn't like the show or didn't watch it, but Sons of Anarchy always brought good, heavy and hard rock stuff in there. A great show, Sons of Anarchy, and they literally had Sasquatch a couple times had songs by them in there, and Monster Magnet and other bands like that. And so there is like a shoot off of Sons of Anarchy that's coming out here. That it'll be on their second or third season. That's coming here shortly in March, I think. And it's another one where it's just perfect for rock and roll is when they have certain scenes. Sometimes it's an introspective scene, where someone's having to, they're traveling and they're thinking and they're going through this thing, and there's these clear lyric vocals, of rock and roll and bluesy rock and roll, so there's room for our stuff to be placed back into films and all that. But again, the gatekeepers are the gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
And the gatekeepers are Hollywood and New York. I'm a lifetime liberal, man. I don't have any problem saying that it's everything is you inspect further and you look into money. It's just like, wow, this is quite the gamut.
Out of all the things that I have missed about being locked down in this quarantine, as much as, I haven't really been too locked down, but as much as things have changed with this whole pandemic, one of the things that I don't miss is the heavy presence of Hollywood all the time. The fucking and I think that's kind of gonna crumble, and I wouldn't be upset if it did.
I think one of the award shows is on right now as we speak, or was just on. But listen, I grew up a big fan of the movies and all that, but I don't watch near as much TV anymore. I do try to stick to certain series and stuff, and I've definitely probably gotten a little more into even history stuff, which is as I've gotten older, it becomes a little more interesting because we do know that history repeats itself sometimes, and so it's just we're in a weird world. But again, I optimistically will say the quality, not only the quantity of music from around the world, but the quality that's coming in, it's just it's at a very high rate. If you look at the song Red River by Lowrider, which is probably my song of the year last year, how could someone who likes just regular rock and roll or metal not like that? It had everything you need in it.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's catchy. It's got great melody to it. It rocks. Fuzzy. So there's stuff out there, man. It's just the way it is. There's great music being made. I tell people in my own little mind, I think about if I had a radio station, what would I play to get out there to people and have certain popular music that's placed on the radio station that can bridge it over, people to listen to, Chevelle even would probably be more likely some of them to like some of this stuff, versus, some of this other crap, or Seven Dust or who knows,
Yeah.
Hell, a Godsmack fan from original Godsmack stuff, that's heavy rock.
Yeah.
It just got popular, but that's more relatable to the stoner rock scene than it is to the pop rock scene.
I've always said that stoner rock was more of an umbrella term for just basically just hard rock, 70s influenced.
Yeah, that's really
rock.
what it is.
Yeah.
Basically, that is rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize is that is the most vibrant sector of rock and roll right now. There's a little bit of a bluesy rock with a little bit more of a pop twist to it, a little bit like a band called Blue Stones and all that, but they're still they're still in the same bloodline, quite frankly. The White Stripes is the same bloodline. I don't know, just because they're popular doesn't mean that they literally come from the exact same influences and bloodline of the bands that are the most popular in stoner and desert. And we use the term heavy rock, some of us, and heavy rock has two branches. It has the Octane branch, which is the heavy rock stuff that's a little more based off of new metal influences, and then there's the heavy rock that's everything that's more derived off of that early 70s influence, but doesn't have to sound like it.
Right, yeah, man. I've been struggling with the term stoner rock myself, just because of the the stigma that it brings up. When people ask you, what kind of music do you play, and then I say, well, we're in a stoner band. Then they look at you funny. You know what I mean? Oh, I bet you guys are in a fucking stoner band.
Some people are like, yeah, you got to be stoned to like it, and I'm like, that's not nice.
Yeah. So I struggle with stoner rock too, and it really just means hard rock. But then when I think of hard rock, I think of like radio bands, like Hinder.
Well, if you think about it now,
something.
who are the hard rock radio bands now?
Right. Yeah. I don't even know.
Blood was a hard rock radio band for a little bit. Now they make this stuff that's like so highly produced and wussy sounding. It's like, oh, there goes Royal Blood, just another band that just, immediately gets wussified as soon as they get on big labels or, get it.
Yeah. What a shame.
Yeah.
Well, John, man, I appreciate you fucking coming on here, dude.
Thanks for having me. It's always good to talk and catch up there, Mr. Zach.
Hell yeah, dude. We covered a lot of stuff on this one, man. This one's cram-packed.
Hopefully we don't piss too many people off. No.
I'm looking forward to shows popping back up, man. And then, like I said, I'm going to be more central to Phoenix once I get into this new place. So next time you come down, hopefully I don't miss you. And
I'll give you the heads up again because there's something brewing end of April that I might be coming to Tucson, not Phoenix, Tucson.
Okay.
Which is a little ways away for me. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm going almost for sure. I was invited out to help with a few things also. And I've actually never been to Tucson. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Tucson is a fucking cool, weird place, man. It's one of those cool, weird places.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll take it. Something new to take a look at.
Yeah.
But hey, let me know. I'll let you know when I get over to Arizona. Or if I hear something cool that's happening in AZ, I'll let you know. Like I just saw a posting for an old school. I'd call them a heavy rock, but they were classified as metal. That's been around since the '70s, called Y&T. I just saw something they're playing like the 15th of March.
Holy shit!
In Arizona.
All right. Yeah. Definitely do that.
If you don't know who that is, go check out the album Black Tiger or this other. I don't know why I'm trying to blank on their most popular album. But anyways, a couple albums they had, it was like back to back, were just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Just good old heavy rock, man. It's not, I'll send you a song after the show. Just to give you a little taste.
Well, hey, on that note, I'll have to have you do a guest DJ host on here, man.
Let me know, man.
Will do. I will do, man. We're kicking the first one off this month, so that's going to be Holy Death Trio hosting that one.
Oh, nice. I just hung out with his boys.
Yeah, man, I saw that.
Yeah, they were down to Vamps with me we had a roaring good time, man.
That's awesome, man. I love those guys, man. Those are my boys. I'm so proud of everything they're doing right now.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. Good sound. Blasco, and Todd are good people, so they're in good hands, and they got the spirit, and that's what we need more of,
Right on, John. Well, hey, man, have a good night, and thank you for holding it down over there in Vegas for us.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Talk to you later.
You too, brother. Later.
Bye.
All right, that was John Gist from Vegas Rock Revolution. Be sure to follow him on social media, on Facebook at John Gist. Check out the Doomed and Stone show on Spotify or anywhere you get your podcast. I think they drop a new one every Thursday. Join the Vegas Rock Revolution group on Facebook. John's always posting cool stuff on there. And then it looks like I will see you guys at Psycho Fest this year. And why not, man? It's been a long year. We've all been cooped up. I'm gonna keep my distance. I'm gonna mask up when I need to, but I'm gonna enjoy myself this summer. And I hope you guys do the same. And this is that new track I was talking about, Death. I mean, it used to be called Death from Above, but it is called Look Out Above. Go to zachcry.bandcamp.com. Follow me on all social media at ZachCry, and check this song out on Spotify or anywhere you listen to music. I love you guys. Have a good week.
Cocaine. I hang around downtown, so absolutely
Jam Space Podcast.